stop already. You guys listening to this guy over here? He keeps going. Look at that monstrosity. They were eating and drinking. They were marrying and giving in marriage. But when did that all change? Until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not understand. They did not understand. Until the flood came and took them away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. I wonder. Is this time kind of like that? The wrath of God is revealed from heaven. The wrath of God has been revealed to God's people who hear the word of truth and believe this word. How many of you feel silly going out there and talking to people in LeGrand, Oregon at a farmer's market and saying, God's going to destroy the world and it's all going to melt with intense heat according to the Scriptures. There's a day when God's going to judge the world in righteousness through a man whom he has appointed, having furnished proof to all men by raising him from the dead. This is coming. Can you imagine the looks you would get? The wrath of God is revealed from heaven. What's his wrath revealed against? What has aroused God's wrath? What is God so angry about anyway? We've talked about some things already, right? But what makes God so angry? As we look at verses 18 through 32, we'll look at the first two answers, the first of two answers to that question, the first one today. Two answers to the question, what has aroused God's wrath? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out the outline. I stole it. God gave it to me right out of the Scriptures. Number one, God's wrath has been aroused by the ungodliness and unrighteousness of people, of mankind, who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. For God's wrath is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness, all impiety, all wickedness and evil of mankind, and all unrighteousness of men who suppress, who cover up, who hold down and bind up and possess and restrain the truth in unrighteousness. How do you hold on to the truth? How do you possess the truth? That's what they were doing. Who possess the truth that God has made obvious and apparent about himself in a way that is not right in the sight of God. The truth is this, number one. The truth is this. God has made himself known. You ever hear that question? Well, what about people who have never heard about God on the other side of the world? What about those people on the furthest corner of the earth? Nobody's ever told them about God? Is that true? Well, look at what the Scripture says. The truth is, God has made himself known. Paul writes here that that which is known about God is evident. Where is it evident? Among them or within them. It is manifest in them, in mankind, in people. That which is known about God, that which is brought to light, is shown, is displayed even within our own being, among us. If you know the Scriptures, how did God make us? In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, how did he make mankind? He made us in his image, in his likeness. So when we stop, that's not to say that we are God or God is us. But God created us in his image. And God teaches us about himself as we consider ourselves. As God is spirit, we are spiritual beings. As God is rational, we are rational beings. As God is creative, guess what? Humans are creative beings. As God is emotional, we are emotional beings. Does God feel? Yeah. Read the scriptures. He feels a lot. He feels intensely. In the beginning, in the days of Noah, he was sorry that he had made man on the face of the earth. He felt it. That which is known about God is evident within them, for God made it evident to them. Now, either God made it evident to mankind, or his word's a liar. God has made himself known. He goes on to say, for since the creation of the world, in verse 20, his invisible attributes. What is an invisible attribute? If it's invisible, what does that mean?
Can't see it.
You can't see it. If it's an invisible attribute, it's a quality that cannot be seen. But do not be mistaken. Just because you can't see it does not mean that it does not exist. For God made it evident to them. He made that which is known about God evident to humanity, mankind. For since the creation of the world, when did God make himself known? Since the creation of the world. His invisible attributes, the invisible things of him, his invisible qualities, namely his eternal power and divine nature. His eternal power, the power that transcends the boundaries of time. His eternal power. Power that endures without end. Power that has always been and will always be from everlasting to everlasting. His eternal power is the power that we all depend on for life and breath and all things. Now, my eyes don't tell me a darn thing about the eternal power of God, because it's not visible, but it is visible to the eyes of my heart. He makes his eternal power plain. He makes his eternal power visible. He makes his divine nature clearly seen. That nature of God that is uniquely God's, that proceeds from God, that nature that men have tried to concoct. We've tried to make God's, but we fail to conceive a God that is like the living and true God. Well, it is. Might I suggest that it's because none of us have ever been with God, where God is? See, the one who was with God came forth from God, and he was able to testify of God. That's why he had the right to do that. Jesus could testify. Acts chapter 17, verse 29, Paul preaching to the philosophers at Mars Hill said, being the offspring of God, we ought not to think that the divine nature, that God's nature is like gold or silver or stone. We should not think that the nature of God is like an image formed by the art and thought of man. I would encourage you to go back, for the sake of time today, to go back and read Isaiah 40 on your own. And hear how Isaiah perceived the divine nature. God has made himself known. The truth of the matter is God has made himself known. That which is known about God has been made known through that which has been created. It is being understood, being comprehended through what has been made. The song Indescribable by Chris Tomlin says, creation is revealing his majesty. What God has created, all that God has created is shouting out information. How many of you knew that? Creation is speaking. Sometimes I wonder, I think we're really, really too busy about our own agendas in our lives to stop and really do what they did when they didn't have televisions and all this other junk to occupy our minds, to amuse us, to take our minds off of musing and go to amusing, not thinking. A day when people would go out at night and go, whoa, That star is, it's out there. I couldn't have got that star out there. How did it come to be? What is that even? And the sun, wow, the heat that it creates, and the regularity of its movement, and the seasons, and the moon, and everything that God has created. You just stop, just stop and look up at the sky, and then look down and check out the tiniest creature that God has created, and go, could you do that? Could you make that little bug move like it moves so intricately? Could you design that? And then you break out your electron microscope and you get it down even further and you're like, whoa. And then you get to your telescope and it shows you things that are so far out there and you're like, put it all together and you begin to go, creation's speaking, guys. Psalm 19, verses 1 through 4, the heavens are telling of the glory of God. Some of you are going, I've never heard the heavens tell me anything. The heavens don't talk to me. Well, keep listening. The heavens are telling of the glory of God, and their expanse is declaring the work of God's hands. Day to day pours forth speech. Let me ask you this. Based on what you observe, is God a God of order or chaos? Why are you so quick to say that? Did the sun come up today? I know some of the scientific minds are like, no, it didn't actually come up. Did the sun come up today?
Yeah.
It's going to set this evening. And then tomorrow it's going to arise. And as we move on into the fall, the days are going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. And then as we move out of winter, the days are going to get longer. And we're going to go through the seasons. And how long have the seasons been going on? Since after the flood. And these things have been going on. God is a God of chaos. Is God a God of beauty? Or what's the opposite of beauty?
Of beauty.
Does he like variety or does he like uniformity? Just look around the room. And then just look around the world. He loves variety. Day to day pours forth speech. Night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words. Did you hear that? They don't actually talk. Not like you and I talk. Their voice is not heard, but their sound has gone out throughout all the earth. There is no end of the earth that has not received this sound from God that reveals himself to them. And therefore God takes away from every man what? Any excuse. For since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood through what has been made, so that they are without excuse. There are no exemptions for not knowing what God has made known to us about himself. There are no exemptions on the basis of ignorance. There are no excuses for not knowing rightly what he has made obvious. Check this out. No one will be able to say to God, I have an excuse for my bad behavior. I lived before you were made known. No you didn't. No, you didn't. When did God make himself known? From the beginning. The truth is God has made himself known. Secondly, but mankind has suppressed the truth, has suppressed and held down what God has made known. Man has provoked our God and Creator to wrath by taking what he has made known and responding in a way that is not right. By responding in a way that would suggest that God failed to make himself known, which we've already established. He didn't fail. For even though they knew God, what does that say about men who suppress the truth and unrighteousness? They what? They knew God. And even though they knew God, how did they respond to God? They didn't honor him as God. You go, well, what's the big deal about that? Why is God so upset about that? So what? They did not give thanks, but they became futile, foolish, wicked, idolatrous, worthless, profitless. They became vain or weak in their speculations. You're like, what's a speculation? A speculation is simply a guess. They became weak in their opinions, in their thinking, in their reasoning. They became weak. Mankind became futile in their theories. How many theories exist about God? How many philosophies do men have? How many of them are wrong? All of them. There's only one way that leads to life. And their foolish heart was darkened, robbed of light, cut off from the truth. Our God and Creator has so worked that we, according to Ecclesiastes 3:14, should fear Him. He has a right. Guys, listen to this. Our God, the Creator of heaven and earth, the giver of life, breath, and all things, has a right to be honored. It is right to honor Him. But rather than give Him the honor that He is due, given what He has done, when was the last time you took a breath? Just now. Did you give that to yourself? No. How about now? And if it was taken away from you, could you give it to yourself again? Who made that heart in your chest, by the way? Who gave you those eyes to see or those ears that you used to hear? When you go to work and you think that your labor is a product of your own doing, when was the last time you stopped to think that the God who created the heavens and the earth has made it possible for you to do everything that you're doing? He has so worked that you have one responsibility. I have one responsibility, and that's to give reverence and respect to Him, to fear Him. He has a right to be honored. But rather than give Him the honor that He is due, men give no honor to Him. Men give His honor away to worthless things. To try to illustrate this is very difficult for me. But all of you have made something at some point in your life. Something that you were proud of. Something that you went, I made this. And some of you, I suspect, have had somebody come along and say, you see what I did? And they take the credit for what you did from you. And you just went, okay. There it goes. I'm okay with it. Is that the way you responded? When somebody took the credit for something you did, you were just like, it's cool. I doubt it. You're a bigger man or a bigger woman than I. It's not right to fail to honor our Maker or to give His honor to unworthy things. This, brothers and sisters, provokes God to wrath. He has a right to be thanked, but rather than give Him thanks that is appropriate, considering what He has done, considering what He is still doing, men take, listen to this frustrates me, and I've talked, some of you guys that have met with me, if you're sitting in Denny's, we sit in Denny's, we're talking about this, and you go, how many people in here are breathing right now? When was the last time most of these people in this room thanked God? And I dare say the majority haven't given any thanks. But how many of them were more than willing to take the breath that God gave them to take? What does that sound like? A son or a daughter, mom, dad work really, really hard, invest a lot of time and energy to take care of their kids. And their kids just live in their house and they do whatever they want. They go where they go, wherever they want to go, and they never stop to say, Mom, Dad, you work well. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.